in the presence of Dr. Tim McKnight, and Dr. Jakubowski should be here momentarily. And we're talking this morning, Dr. McKnight, about core strength. So that sounds like something that I need and comes from my core, but that's a little oversimplified.
Right. It is a little oversimplified. You know, when you think about strength, everybody thinks about the arms and the chest and the back and maybe the legs. But the core muscles are the muscles of the stomach, the oblique muscles of the stomach, which help you twist, and then your low back, and even the gluteal muscles could be considered part of that. And it's really important, not only for athletic performance, but for everyday living and moving. And a lot of people are very tight. We've talked about this before. They're very tight in their low back and their gluteal muscles, but they don't have necessarily the strength. They just have muscle tightness, and so that's something different. But if you can imagine, let's say you have a doll or with a lot of moving parts. So every part of the body has like hinges where they move. And let's imagine you're throwing a baseball, and the motion to throw a baseball actually begins with your toes, because your toes help you with your balance as you sort of reach your arm back to throw. And then as you throw forward, every joint in your body is activated. Your fingers, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulders. Then it goes down to your core muscles, the stomach and the low back. Then it goes to your hips, your knees, your ankle, and your toes. So every joint is involved. And if you have a dysfunction or an injury in any one of those joints, it will impact how well you can throw the ball. So, but we tend to forget about the core muscles and how important they are. And one place that I've seen this bear out in the office are high school cheerleaders who do a lot of tumbling. You know, I always say that we call them cheerleaders, but they're really gymnasts. Mm-hmm. And they're doing these back handsprings over and over and over again. But they don't train as a gymnast. They do the tumbling, but they don't train as gymnasts. So they don't have that core strength developed because they don't work on that. And then it's partly a repetitive, micro trauma every time they do a back handspring. But over and over again, if the core strength isn't there, you can imagine the stress that puts on the low back. And I've seen several of these girls with stress fractures in their spine because they don't have the core strength, partly because they've done it so many times repetitively without recovering. But it's absolutely crucial, and there's things that we can do to develop core strength and help it to improve. And Dr. Jakubowski, he works a lot with this in the office, not only with people with low back pain, but giving them advice on how to increase that core strength in those muscles, because it really does help. And I mentioned that a lot of people are really tight in their core muscles, but they're not necessarily strong. It's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So we need to have strength, and there's some muscles along the spine that help us bend the spine and then move it back to the normal position that people don't think about. Those muscles also have to be activated. So Dr. Jakubowski has some excellent ways to strengthen those muscles.
And we can do this without a personal trainer and a gym membership.
They're really simple exercises, and like Dr. McKnight was saying, the importance of core is huge, because it contracts when in some research shows that it's one of the first muscles that contracts before you even go grab your cup of coffee to go, drink it. Mm-hmm. Or if you bend to tie your shoes, you need your core to stabilize you, so when you bend over, you just don't fall to the ground when you fall, tie your shoes. So it's such an important muscle, and we have to make sure it's activating. And if it's activating correctly, it helps protect the spine, because you think of core, you just think of the abs, right? But it's all the muscles, that small, tiny muscles that line your spine. It's the ones of your pelvic floor that make a huge difference. And then, of course, your abs are involved with that. So impairment in the core can affect our everyday life, from posture to just normal activity. And then we get into sports, and that's where that muscle comes in with force. If your core muscles are strong, you can actually be a better athlete. Mm-hmm. You're going to throw the ball further. You're going to be able to jump higher. You're going to be able to do all those other things. So it's pretty involved that way, but our everyday life is huge that way.
Well, I talk to my players about their core muscles. When you jump off the floor, you've lost your legs.
Yeah,
true.
So you got your core and your shoulders, and they better be strong.
And that's what Dr. McKnight and I see is, like, these gymnasts or even these football players, we're used to like when we were in school is, okay, let's go to the gym. You're training for football. Let's go to the weight room and let's see how much weight we can lift. Let's see how much weight we can deadlift. Hey, he's a 500-pound deadlifter. And yeah, you're strong. But now we're realizing it's more of a core muscle thing that makes you really strong and that can stabilize you. So if you're playing football and you're making dynamic movements, or if you're on the line and you're pushing somebody back, it's not the 500 pounds of deadlift you can do, but how strong is your core to make that force and push that person back?
You think about like a lineman blocking a defensive lineman, and if that core isn't strong as they have that impact head on, that lineman with the weak core strength, he's going to be pushed backwards. But if his core muscles are strong and engaged, all that force that he's generated is going to be felt by his opponent. Same thing with a basketball player going up for a drive and somebody comes up and kind of sort of bangs into him like LeBron James going up for a bang. For a layup. He's so strong that when somebody hits him, that those core muscles engage and his body doesn't move. And that's what we're talking about. Now that's for athletic performance,
Right.
but it's also critical, like Dr. J was saying, just everyday motions, bending down to pick up something. And some of this goes along with balance. Balance and core stability go hand in hand. You have to have both, and you have to rehab both as you get older. But it's absolutely crucial. And there's some other great exercises that Dr. Jakubowski has taught me with a it's called a Swiss ball, and they're very simple exercises that you can do.
Yeah, so the basic core stabilization exercise, and it sounds kind of silly, but it's just standing on one leg. And in Fit for Life, we do a demonstration during class. I make everybody stand up, and then we stand on one leg. And then they have to see how long they can stand on that one leg before they have to lose their balance and fall. And a lot of people, maybe it's 2 seconds, maybe it's one, maybe they could do it for a long time. But that's that proprioceptive, meaning the nerves that stabilize your core, and all the muscles, these small muscle groups that you just can't go to the gym and grab a 30-pound weight and go, hey, I'm going to work this small muscle. But it's these balance type exercises. And that's the point of those big round balls that you see people working out in the gym. It's like, why do you work out on that big ball, that bouncy ball? But it's to create an unbalanced surface. And when you do that, you stimulate the core. You stimulate those proprioceptive nerves that prevent falls. Because we all hear, hey, my grandmother got older, she loses her balance, she fell and broke her hip.
Right.
There's a lot of research that shows if people can't do these core exercises or standing on one leg, and they've done it and done these studies in nursing homes, that they fall and break their hip. So if they're doing these simple exercises, you brush your teeth in the morning, stand on one leg. And if you can't do it now and you're only able to do it for 2 seconds, I guarantee within 1 week you'll notice a huge change because our nerves respond fast. These small muscle groups respond fast. So that's one exercise. Planks, if people know what a plank is, that's a great exercise. And Dr. McKnight and I have been doing in Twin City Fitness, my gym, is we've been posting just a short video of exercises and core stabilization. Maybe we'll do that this week. We can put some on the Twin City Fitness or the Fit for Life, and then Twin City Chiropractic. We'll show some videos of some core stabilization exercise people could actually see, because I know it's hard to visualize over the radio. But getting our point across of how important it is.
So you guys, there's a funny commercial with people turning into their parents, and the guy sits down in the chair and he's like, ugh. Is that because people do that because their core is not as strong as it should be when they're trying to get up and down?
I think so. I mean, again, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And it's a combination of balance, core stability, generalized good strength, flexibility so that all the joints move correctly. And all those things have to be done. If you're just someone who's retired and now you're in the recliner or watching TV and you're not doing much, you all those things are not being used, and they're going to start to atrophy. But one of the great messages I think we have today, and I keep trying to reiterate in Fit for Life, is our body can change quickly. It can change very quickly, as he said, with balance, proprioception, just little things. You can get one of these big Swiss balls, and you might see people in an office setting every now and then that'll sit on these instead of a chair. And every time you shift your weight a little bit, you're activating those muscles in the spine because they're saying, oh, well, we're going off balance. So they'll tighten up, one will tighten and one will relax, and then it enhances blood flow. So it's really good for spine health. But there's a lot of things you can do, a lot of exercises. And, we're talking about athletics here. Whether you're 90 in a nursing home or you're, 17 on a volleyball court, we all need to be more athletic, and you can't neglect core strength and the stability of the spine.
And those balls, I think, are a really simple thing that you could purchase in. It's not like you have to do a plank on it and you're standing on it or anything crazy to kill yourself. But, and there's a great exercise for it that you just, if you're older and you're unsure your balance is, okay, grab one of those balls, watch TV, and just bounce on it.
Yeah.
Because you have to stabilize yourself. You stimulate all those muscles of your back, of your core. And it's just very simple things that you could do to start that process.
Sounds great.
So,
anything else I need to know? I should get a ball. Dr. McKnight has a ball.
Where is your ball? I have a ball. Dr. J has a ball.
But I do want to get something across, and we've talked about this for years, is again back to the high school athlete, that we see a lot of back injuries from lifting heavy weights, those squats and things is, we hope, as research and we're more educated is that, hey, maybe they shouldn't be squatting 300 pounds in the gym or deadlifting, but hey, why don't we have them do these core exercises and let's see if they could do a plank on a ball for 5 minutes, instead of lifting 500 pounds.
Right.
And they'll actually be stronger in the sport they do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. Thanks for being here. I know it wasn't a great trip in, but maybe next week it will be better.
Well, we appreciate being able to do this and educate your listeners, and hopefully it makes a difference for somebody.
I hope it does. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
See you guys soon.